Hello and welcome to Two Beers Till Takeoff, the podcast inspired by conversations overheard at the airport bar. Join Phil as he grabs a couple of beers and chats with interesting people from around the world, sharing expert knowledge and hilarious stories that you won't find in your guidebook. So pull up a stool and get ready for an adventure as we explore worlds of travel and beyond with Two Beers Till Takeoff.
4 hours in a Taliban headquarters.
I had dog meat in Laos.
Was it golden retriever?
Smack a dirty old smooch on our beautiful fish right here.
He didn't die, but he fell down the side of the mountain.
Hello and welcome to Two Beers Till Takeoff. My name is Phil, and on today's episode, we are going to India. Our guest today is the first and only British hockey player, the gap-toothed gangster himself, the goat of storytelling, joining us live from Portugal. Welcome back to the show, Sid.
These intros get better every time as well. I enjoyed that one. Brought with me today an India Pale Ale, ready for the theme as well.
Me too.
Oh, no way.
Me too, dude. India Pale Ale.
Oh,
Let's go.
What are the chances?
It's an India Pale Ale, but it doesn't taste like an IPA. It's not a very strong hoppy beer that you typically associate with an IPA. The Alexander Keith.
And this is a Karuja, which means owl, in case you're wondering.
Awesome. What's going on with you, dude? Fuck it. I don't even remember I don't remember last time I've seen you. You look like a fucking Top Gun fighter pilot.
I was auditioning. I was going to be the stunt double in the next one. I figured Tom Cruise can't lose any teeth, but it doesn't matter if I lose another one.
What was it like shooting down that big balloon?
It's been a hard week, I tell you. Things are steady. I've got a trip coming up, which is, I'm excited for. I'm doing I'm doing Egypt. Then I'm going to the UAE, Abu Dhabi specifically.
United Arab Emirates, for people who don't know.
Yeah, excellent. And then to Saudi Arabia.
You're going to Saudi Arabia?
I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
You know you can't drink there, right?
I was thinking
you're gonna fucking die.
I was thinking if I get really, really tanked the weekend before I go, it might just carry me through. I might just be able to cruise off of fumes. But
or just try to stay drunk the whole week from just that one night.
That was my plan. No, I'm fully aware I can't drink, but I'm running out of countries that I can drink in. So I figured, a little period of detox maybe is not a bad idea.
Fuck. So what made you want to go to Saudi Arabia?
The women.
Okay. Yeah.
No. It was just, it's a case of,
you want to go see Ronaldo or?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can watch a journalist get executed in the morning and you can watch Ronaldo play in the afternoon. Where else can you do that? So, no, we should probably stop with the stereotypes. No, it's just completely different to anywhere I've been before. And the flights are randomly really cheap. So I just figured it was something that I'd like to do. Nice. One thing that I would like to put to the followers, to the nomads, if they're interested in helping me, is I haven't actually booked a flight out of Saudi Arabia yet, and I'm tied between three options of what to do, because I can either do the generic option after Saudi Arabia. Whatever I do after Saudi Arabia, I'm going to want to go and get pissed. I mean, I'll make that clear. Let's not beat around the bush. I'll be sick of of mosques and cultural
straight to Prague.
Yeah. Well, I can catch a flight to Budapest, and then from there it'll be easy to go back to Brazil, or something like that. Or I can do something else odd, and I can either go to Azerbaijan or I can go to Uzbekistan. So basically,
oh shit, dude.
Yeah, I've got generic route back through Europe, or I can do Azerbaijan, or I can do Uzbekistan. I haven't yet decided which one sounds the best. So if anybody wants to help me out on that, I'd appreciate it.
I think I'd do Uzbekistan, because I think I know the least amount from those options.
I think the capital is Tashkent or something like that, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much.
Or Tashkent or something like that?
It starts with a T, I think. But that my knowledge of it is really limited. So yeah, it could be an interesting option. Toronto. Yeah, I think it's Toronto.
Fuck, dude, that's wild, man. And how long is this trip going to be?
Well, I'm actually going to be doing it pretty slowly because I'm going to be doing some work as well. So I'm actually going to be away for like two and a bit months.
Oh shit, you're gonna become a digital nomad. Wow.
Yeah, something like that. I've been taking advice off the guys that keep coming on this show, but who knows? Maybe I'll start a vlog. Jesus.
Oh wow, wow, that'd be good. On a phone that has like 1 megapixel, that'd be amazing.
Just walking around, film it on a potato.
We kind of glanced over this a little bit, but UFOs. I don't remember a time where UFOs has been more in the news. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I mean,
What have you been hearing at base camp or whatever?
I've been keeping my tinfoil hat on so the aliens can't contact me. But I mean, we've had what, like 3 of them this week now? I mean, one of them was China.
Yeah, like one was
obviously,
shot in Canada. 3 of them were shot down in the U.S. and Alaska, over Montana. What the fuck is going on, dude?
Dude, maybe we are getting close to space travel. Maybe the next stop will be the moon.
Shit.
I mean,
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, when I go out, I'm going to have to wear like sleeves and trousers. Do you reckon on the moon I can wear a wife beater? Because I'd be up for that.
Oh fuck. Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting time. I think I'm excited to see what happens. Are we gonna get to meet aliens in our lifetime?
You know, I've had a few experiences in the jungle that felt like I was with some aliens, but yeah, maybe not the kind. Phone home.
Yeah. Another thing that's going on though is the Super Bowl. Super Bowl's tonight.
It is.
Who you got?
Go Bears. Don't tell me the Bears didn't make it again. No, I've been reading a lot about the Eagles' defense. You know, and we have an expression that offense wins matches, defense wins championships. So
Championships.
Yeah, I'm back in the Eagles.
Yeah, I think we've seen it. Like we've seen the Eagles' defense. Obviously, it's a different defense. Some of those players that are in the team now are still, or were the ones that won a Super Bowl with like Fletcher Cox and stuff like that. And then we've seen them take down a formidable offense in the Patriots in the past. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they match up against the Mahomes crew, because it just seems like they don't really have a central player that they're going to throw to. So it just seems like it could be Juju Smith-Schuster, it could be Kadarius Toney, it could be anybody. So it's just like, how do you kind of game plan against that? Because Mahomes he just can make any shitty player into a better player by just, you know, his talent. So it's going to be a really interesting game. I think I'm with you on the Eagles if I was a betting man. And
are.
I think it's a tight one though.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to look at Michael Vick so fast.
Yeah, no, so it should be a good one. Riri at the halftime. Excited for that. So hopefully it's a good game. Fuck. So Sid, let's get into the let's talk about India a little bit here before we dive into it. But so what made you want to go to India?
I suppose this is actually quite relevant as to why we just mentioned Saudi Arabia. I was just ready to step up the weirdness of the countries I was visiting, I suppose, for lack of a better word.
Right.
Because, you know...
because there's a different level of difficulty going to this country, right? You're going to shit yourself probably within the first 12 hours you're there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Delhi, I mean, we'll talk more about food and drink in a bit, I guess, but Delhi Belly is, you know, people mention it for a reason because everybody gets it. I don't know anybody that didn't get sick at least at some point there. And yeah, it's not a country with really, really luxurious toilets as well, which doesn't help.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if I would be, you know, if I had diarrhea, I'd like a bit of porcelain to kind of soften the blow.
Yeah. It's not like that. It's... I mean, look, in India really got off to a bit of a rough start and didn't back down at any point. I left India feeling a little bit abused, to be honest. So there will be I'll try and make this episode sound a little bit inspiring for people that are interested in India, but I will be honest, I did think it was awful. I mean, we got.
Tell me how you really feel.
I mean, we got off the plane in Delhi, and I was with Ricky, and Ricky's a chain smoker, and or he was at the time, and we got off the plane, and I mean, he couldn't, you know, after like a 10-hour plane journey, he couldn't get a cigarette down him because he just didn't have the oxygen in his lungs to actually breathe in anything. I was sitting there with like a fucking oxygen mask on, like. It's because because it's extremely hot, but it's just so smoggy. You know, it's like it's 40 degrees for just air pollution. The air quality is abysmal.
Yeah.
You know, and you
don't even have to buy cigarettes. You just breathe.
You just breathe in. Yeah. I mean, you save a bunch like that, and I mean, it just makes you feel groggy right off the bat, which was probably why we did feel there leaving we left the feeling a little beaten up, but you know, there are a lot of nice things that we did in Delhi. You know, disclaimer, okay, for anybody listening, we only did Delhi and Agra. The plan was to go all the way down to the south, spend a month in India, and then catch a boat over to Sri Lanka. We actually did 8 or 9 days, and then we were just like, I'm done with this.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get into some of the...
I think we can maybe just sell the story that's going to come at the end here, but that might be a reason why that you fucking wanted to get the hell out too.
Yeah, it's certainly helped. I mean, I'm significantly more flexible, but Ricky is very much English when he goes abroad. You know, he's football, beer, find some local women, and he doesn't really differentiate from that. Whereas, you know, I've got maybe a few more levels to what I like to do. But so this was never
a bit more cultural.
Slightly. I've been to a museum or two in my time. So I knew it was going to be a difficult sell for him. This, but you know, once I wasn't there to say, "Oh, keep going," because I'd had enough. That was it. You know, we were very quick to get out of there. We were actually in Agra when we made the decision, and we realised that there was a flight that we could catch that afternoon to get out. So we caught a taxi from Agra to Delhi, which is like 2.5, 3 hours. Yeah, imagine how much that taxi bill should have been. It wasn't that bad because it was India. But yeah, and we got there. Yeah, and I thought, we'll be able to go straight in. No, we couldn't. There was guys with guns outside, guarding to stop people getting in with tickets. I thought we could get in and get a ticket. And by the time we tried to explain to them what we wanted to do, because they were like completely bemused why 2 people would show up to the airport without tickets. Yeah, the plane had gone. So we went back to the hostel. We went back to the hostel in Delhi that we knew and tried the next day, but we bought the tickets online so that we were ready to go to Sri Lanka. Right. Turns out when you go to Sri Lanka, you can't fly in unless you've got a flight booked out. And by the time we'd resolved that issue, we'd missed the plane. We'd missed the plane again.
Jesus Christ.
But at the third attempt, we did actually get out of there and get to Sri Lanka, which was nice.
No wonder these airlines make so much money.
Yeah. But yeah, so I suppose let's crack on with a few things that were nice. You know, Delhi's got a few interesting attractions. We went to the Red Fort, which is basically, you know, like a big red castle, I suppose. If people can't really picture that, I don't really know how to describe it. You know, but it's like mud, clay effect walls, and it's interesting. We went to the Lotus Temple as well, which was fine. It looks cool from a distance, but it wasn't really that interesting when we got up there, but it was all right. We went to some tombs as well. What was a tomb called? I'm going to find it. Humayun's tomb, which was...
Oh, yeah, that's the one I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, Humayun's tomb, which was quite beautiful, actually. I was a fan of that. The other thing we saw was India Gate, which, to be honest, just looks like the Arc de Triomphe. And I think I've voiced my opinion on Paris on here a few times. So the fact that they're the fact that they're taking tourist attractions and copying them from other cities that I don't like was obviously not going to score them too many points.
Did they have a Statue of Liberty too? Or?
Well, that was what they were missing. I think they're going to get one of those done. It's going to become like a new Vegas, Delhi. But yeah, so you know, there are nice points to it. There were things that we enjoyed. You know, there's a lot to see and do. And you meet people there who go, I love it, India. I'm obsessed with India. I've actually got a friend who's moving over to India in a couple of weeks because he went there, did a month, went back, did another month, and he's like, fuck, all I want to do is go live in India. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand why somebody would like to do that, or, you know, why somebody would do that by choice. But you meet people and they go, I like, you know, they're a little bit crusty, as a term that I think we used in season 1 when Sam May came on. Anyone who didn't watch that episode, It's like, the hippies that don't wash. Because there are some very, very polite, very hygienic hippies, some of them. Not so much. And those are the kind of people, dude, I'm out here spending $7 a day. I take my showers in the Ganges.
In the Ganges.
This kind of people, So there is obviously some kind of appeal to it. It didn't really catch me, but there were things to do. It was just all of the difficulties that come with it. Because, as I said, food and drink, I suppose we'll probably do a segment, but it's very spicy, very hard to find good meals, and you end up getting sick. Right. Nobody really enjoys being sick. No. As far as I'm aware.
No, it doesn't seem like a place that you go do a week or like 10 days. You need to schedule in the time that you're going to be on the toilet.
Yeah. You've got the transport and the traffic, which is not particularly pleasant. They've got tuk-tuks, which is a big feature of Southeast Asia and South Asia, which is great because they're really cheap, but they don't completely help you avoid the traffic.
Yeah.
And obviously, as I said, it is dusty and there is air pollution. We actually should have been wearing masks looking back. Pre-COVID, I don't know how easy it was to find them, but it's what we should have been doing.
Fuck.
Yeah, the train journey we caught over to Agra, we'd been advised, get second class, at least second or first class. The guy didn't speak any English. We ended up buying third class by accident. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like it. It looked like one of those trains that they use to transport prisoners. It was like cages just with people stacked on top of each other, and the smell of feet was horrendous. Like, India doesn't smell very nice, generally, okay? Again, sorry if that's a stereotype, but it is true from my experience. People shit on the road.
Yeah, and I mean, the smog, the pollution, like all this shit, plus it's hot.
So you can imagine the people that need to travel third class, I feel very sorry for them. But when they're all getting together cramped in this tiny little compartment that's got to be 40 degrees plus outside, so God knows what it is in that little compartment. Dude, the smell is just impossible. We met some guy who managed to talk us managed to convince the guards to let us stand between the carriages in second class so that we didn't need to go into that third class area. I think he had pity on us because we were carriages. Because we were clearly two, Western tourists that had bought the wrong tickets. So I think he pitied us a little bit. But it was just a very grim experience. Wow. I will though. Dude,
I think all the content that I'm going to do from this, I'm going to tag India tourism just because I'm sure they're going to share the shit out of this episode.
Dude, I will give them their dues for one thing though, which was nice to get a positive in, I guess. The Taj Mahal, when we got to Agra, absolutely sensational. Yeah, I think I've done 4 or 5 of the wonders of the world. Probably still is my favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just a sensational building, and it's really nice views. And we got to Agra late because this train journey was obviously a bit of a mess and things like that. And we actually just decided to do an all-nighter. We said to the guest house guy, our original guest house didn't exist, by the way, in Agra that we'd booked. It was actually just a derelict building. Like, it wasn't even finished. It was a construction site. So we found this guy who was still awake, who gave us a room, and there was no air conditioner or window in the bathroom. In case anyone was wondering what happened with Delhi Belly.
How was the atmosphere in that hostel?
Absolute 0 out of 10. No, we probably cranked it up to like a 4. We said to him, have you got anywhere that we can get some beers? And in the middle of the night, he sent off this young kid on a motorbike. Kid was about 13, so I don't know what license he had, but he drove off on a motorbike and come back with a bunch of like dented beer cans. And so we sat on the rooftop, whilst the sun was coming up, and then we took a stroll down to the Taj. And because we got there as it was opening at I can't remember what time it opens, 5 o'clock maybe. It's a bit like we said about Machu Picchu. Definitely get there first thing in the morning, yeah?
Yeah.
We actually got a tuk-tuk part of the way because there were so many stray dogs on the road and like monkeys running around that we were starting to get a bit intimidated. So we caught a tuk-tuk the last 300 meters, best 50p I've ever spent. But you get to the Taj, you walk in and it's just peaceful, it's just religious people, doing their thing, creating some kind of ambience and, going about their day. And it's just a really nice experience before the tourists get there. Super photogenic as well, because it's all, nearly all symmetrical.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
From what I've heard from other people is that it highlights the riches of the region, like that it's... I'm kidding. All the buildings in Accra are just like that, right?
Yeah, every single, they're all marble palaces, completely.
Yeah. Tear down, it's not symmetrical, this apartment building.
You know, they the towers that they've got either side of it, yeah? They actually lent those out to the side slightly so that from a distance it looks bigger. Which is interesting, isn't it? Yeah. But it was also a present that the guy gave to his favourite wife. Not to his only wife, to his favourite wife, which I think is a nice touch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we jump to food and drink there, I have to ask you a question. This is one that I've kind of had from kind of looking back to all the episodes we've done. And it's, how the fuck does all this crazy shit happen to you? I bring in so many people into this podcast, and sometimes some of the bigger guests that I get, they don't have anything near or even doesn't even sniff close to the stories that you have. How the fuck do you attract danger and crazy shit? What the fuck?
I think it's just like a kind of magnetic ability that some people naturally have. I don't think it's necessarily a positive. But I've met a couple of other people on my travels who I feel have the same thing, because whenever I go out with them, something happens. You know, so I feel like, you know, if that happens when we have 1 or 2 nights together, I can imagine that 365 days of the year, they're probably getting the same stuff. So I wouldn't say I'm unique, but I think probably 2 things that I do is drink beers with breakfast. And whenever I see a dark alleyway, I take the dark alleyway. Because who knows what's at the end.
It's almost like you never say no. Like if somebody's like, "Hey, you want to come and go to this cockfight?" Yeah.
Well, yeah, because makes things happen, doesn't it? If you said no to everything, you might as well just sit in the hostel, play a game of chess or something.
I'm still upset about that fucking Peruvian cockfight that we missed.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure we'll catch one next time, but I've got no idea where that guy's phone number went. It's probably in a backpack somewhere.
Yeah,
not
it's probably with my
obviously.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, sounds good. Let's go to food and drink.
Food and drink.
All right. Let's start off food and drink with a little bit of a joke that I heard. I was listening to a comedian and he's like, "Yeah, I called my dad the other day and I was like, yeah, I just went to a restaurant. I just went to go eat some Indian food." And his dad was like, "What did you have? Some deer?"
Oh, I think only the North Americans will get that one. Maybe just the Canadians, but I was a fan.
Yeah, it was like kind of a deadpan joke that like nobody really got, but it like once they got it, like you just hear people like roaring in the back. It was so fucking funny. Shout out, his name is William Montgomery.
He sounds like a guy. Deer though in India, unfortunately, not that I found. So yeah, curry, I suppose, is the obvious place to start. Millions and millions of variations, each one spicier than the last. No beef because of religious reasons, in case anybody was unaware of that.
Right.
Yeah, so it can be hard to find red meat. Well, actually, you can't find beef. So it's a lot of chicken, basically. Or they do dal. There's a lot of people eat a lot of dal, which is with lentils. Okay, everything comes with rice. We're talking, it's a lot of eating with your hands rather than knife and fork job. Not even chopsticks, which is, the minimum I was hoping for. But yeah, eat with your hand. So if you haven't washed your hand, or you've been if you've been defecating on the motorway with the locals, that's probably how you end up getting sick.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've got like, samosas, naan breads, rotis, which is where you're getting your carbs from, to try and re-energize and fill the body up a little bit from everything that's coming out. Other than that, there's a lot of dishes, like biryani, chicken tikka, butter chicken, things like this, which I wonder.
Oh, butter chicken, tikka, yeah.
I wonder. We went to a very expensive restaurant and got butter chicken. I think it was the only time we didn't have a really spicy meal. I tell a lie. We went to a Chinese restaurant one evening as well. Unfortunately, the food wasn't spicy because God, we needed a break. Yeah, I do wonder though how authentic they actually are. I'm not an expert, and somebody's probably going to call me an idiot for not knowing this. But I remember hearing some rumours growing up as a kid, because obviously we've got a big Indian community back home in England, so we've got a lot of Indian restaurants. And I always thought a lot of the non-spicy ones and a lot of the ones that are popular back home were actually created back home. So I don't know the origins of some of these dishes.
Yeah. I remember meeting an English guy tell me that butter chicken was an English dish.
Yeah, I've heard that before, which was probably why we only found it in the expensive place.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, with all the curry that's growing in your fields.
You know, one of the things we found was we managed, the first day we were there, we couldn't even find a breakfast that wasn't spicy. We managed to find a guy with like a food truck. Yeah, he was selling something that was called a double egg, double mutton. I don't know why this is what we went for, but it just sounded nice. You know what mutton is, yeah?
No.
Yeah.
And mouton.
Thanks for the French listeners out there. Maybe we've got a couple. Yeah, and even that had some kind of paste on it, so it wasn't completely like a plain. But that was quite fine for breakfast, and fortunately, because it had some bread wrapped around the double egg, double mutton, it was, you know, carbing you up so you had some energy for the day, because it is just hard to stay fueled, which is why I think you don't see many fat Indians. You know, I think their diet is quite, it's not got a lot of sustenance.
Yeah. It just feels like sometimes, like even if you do eat a big meal, just sweat it out, right?
Yeah, it just comes out of you. Nothing stays. You're just renting the food. You're not owning it. You know, from a drink point of view, there's only really two I want to mention, because there was two that stood out. And yeah, lassi, which is a yogurt-based drink, which you can find from South Asia, kind of all the way across to like Eastern Europe, or, you know, as far as like Georgia and things like that. I think I spoke about, I can't actually remember what it's called in Georgia now, but I think I spoke about it once on here before. You know, they even drink it in like Mongolia and places like this, but they call it lassi in India. And it's good, it's refreshing, it's fine. I wouldn't go to a pub and order it, for example, but as far as local drinks go, it's worth trying. And then their beer, obviously, because that's what we all came for, is called Kingfisher.
Yeah.
There is actually a rumour that the Kingfisher in India, again, this is a rumour, I can't prove it because I'm not in the pharmaceutical business or, you know, a chemist. It's got Vaseline in it, which is why it shoots out of you, like the food. Okay. And there is a very weird aftertaste to the Kingfisher in India. It's not the same as the Kingfisher which I've had in Europe, for example.
No way.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you get there, many people will have heard this as well. And a lot of people in the hostels and stuff will say it to you. Yeah, Vaseline in the beer. I don't think it's a large amount. Like, you can't just, like, gloop it out. It is still liquidy. But there's something in there to give it, you know, an extra quality, I guess is the word we're looking for. You know, but back in my day, you could get a bottle in a bar. You could get a bottle in a bar for about £1 or so, which is pretty good for a country that doesn't have a big drinking culture.
Yeah.
So there is that, at least. I mean, you're drinking Vaseline, but for £1, I mean, I've drunk worse.
It's probably good for like a sore throat or something.
I guess so.
Quick question, I guess, just a little aside. I know it's not for food and drink, but like, with India being an ex-British colony, did you get any shit from people because you were British?
No, quite the opposite. We were looked at very, very highly. It was one of the first places I went to where we saw that effect of being celebrities as such, because people would come and ask us for photos. And like when we went to Humayun's tomb, there was at one point there was actually a queue of people waiting to take photographs of us.
Wow.
Yeah, which was quite a turnout for the books. It was, yeah, interesting. So no. If anything, we were given more respect than we were expecting. I mean, maybe they just knew who I was. Maybe it's different for Joe Bloggs and John
listeners
Smith.
of the pod.
But no, treated wonderfully by the people. I can't really knock them for that.
Nice. Did you guys get a chance to go see a cricket match?
No, we didn't. It just, I don't actually know that much about cricket. I know how to play it, and I know that they like it. I know that apparently we like it. Yeah, I know the insect. But that was my cricket impression.
Amazing.
But yeah, no, we didn't catch it. But they're mad for it. A lot of people speak to you about it, you know, and you see a lot of people playing on the street and stuff. but there's no fields in Delhi. It's not like when we went to Sri Lanka where you could get out on a field and play with people and actually have a little hit. They're like playing it up against like rickshaws and cars and stuff, you know. It's not ideal for a game of cricket.
It's like playing baseball.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like playing American football in a living room. It's just not the right area for it.
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers, I guess, but fuck.
Dude, they're called Indians, not beggars.
Oh, wow. Oh my god. Well, I just feel like that I just got canceled. That was the sound of getting canceled, like it just happened. Wow. Been waiting for it. So with that, I guess we should just get to the story then, eh?
Story time.
Right. So, for story time today, I'm probably going to have to explain a few characters before we get into it, because if not, it doesn't really make that much sense. I'm going to have to explain one side note as well, but I'll start with the people. So, we were 4 at the time. It was me, Ricky, who I'd explained about earlier and who's been mentioned many times, actually, when I've been on the show. Good travel
Shout
buddy
out,
of mine.
Ricky.
We had with us a guy called Dimitri, who was actually from Washington, D.C. Actually, there's nothing else to say about him. He was just there. And there was a guy with us called Arj. Arjun Bugal, I think was his full name. I think he was the youngest or the fastest man to walk around the world. He holds some kind of record like that. The man's got some stories as well, as you can imagine, from that kind of adventure. English guy.
Yeah, we've tried to get him on. Right? But he's like fucking disappeared.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe he got caught up in Uzbekistan or something like that. He's English, but he has some Indian heritage, and for this reason, he speaks a little bit of Hindi, which was relevant at one point in this story. Basically, we wanted to go out because I know India's not got like a famous nightlife scene or anything, but fuck, what do we do when we're abroad? We always do this kind of thing. And these two guys were the same as me and Ricky. They wanted to go out. So we'd already tried, and the only bar we'd found in our area in New Delhi was this same rooftop bar we'd kept going to. And we were ready to try something new, and we'd spoken around and asked a bunch of people and couldn't find anything. One guy told us about this place called Mia Bella's. Okay, I actually looked it up earlier. It's no longer a bar, unfortunately, which is devastating. It's now like some kind of classy couples restaurant, the kind of place you take your Doris on Valentine's Day. But at the time it was a bar, and the guy had said good things about it. Arj had done the communication, which is why we managed to actually get a bit of information out of somebody, because if not, it was impossible. Not because they don't speak English, it's just hard to get information out of these people for some reason. I guess because Delhi's such a big city. You know, people don't know the other neighbourhoods. Anyway, so we crammed 4 of us in this tuk-tuk, and we went up to this area, and we get out, and suddenly it's like a different world. Yeah, gone is the people sleeping on the motorway, and dirt, and tuk-tuks, and falling over rickshaws, and cows on the road, and people spitting on the floor. Suddenly you've got like people in suits, strobe lights, and there's not even the air was nicer. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So we walk up to this bar that's at the end of this street. Mia Bella's, there it is. Go upstairs. Okay. I'm sorry, the side note I was supposed to cover on this. A couple of weeks before we went to Delhi, okay, 2 Danish girls, I believe they were. There is an article online about it. I'll see if I can find it in case you want the link. 2 Danish girls had gone on a trip there. And it is a tough part of the world to travel as a lone woman. They'd been kidnapped from Delhi, taken to a village on the outskirts of Delhi. Yeah, and they were hung.
What?
There was some kind of issue. I don't know the ins and outs of it culturally or religiously, so I'm not going to get into it and put my foot in my mouth. But there seemed to be some kind of issue between the local men and white Western woman at the time. Anyway.
Is it because she kept saying namaste?
That might have been it, just on repeat. Telling them about how she bathes in the Ganges, $7 a day. Right. Well, I don't know what it actually was that caused it, but that was the story from the news that we'd heard about. So we go into this club, and pretty quickly, we split off into pairs. Yeah. And as I said to you, Ricky likes local women. He was going to do his thing. I walk into this VIP room. I've got Arj with me, which is probably how we got in, because, I didn't know how to speak to the guys, but Arj just give it a little bit of the local lingo, and that was it. He could do what he wanted. So go into this.
He was like your Vaseline.
He was like the Vaseline. Just slipping straight through, no issues with Arj. Man's 100% Vaseline. So we got into this VIP room, and the first thing this guy came up to me, he's like, yeah, you're a tourist, yeah? He's like, you want some cocaine? And I was like, Jesus, we're a long way from people offering me like double egg, double mutton on the street. And I was like, well, not tonight, actually, thanks. Best not. And so we're like, right, this VIP room is completely weird. Let's get out of here. When we get out there, we can't see Jimmy and we can't see Ricky and Dimitri anymore. So me and Arj go over, to these two Western girls, because clearly their English is going to be good, and we figured that was a good group of people to speak to. Turns out they're from Germany, and we're having a nice chat, we're having a good night, and we spend quite a lot of time with them. We drink a lot of beers, pretty wasted by the end of the night, standard.
Typical stuff.
Yeah, nothing you wouldn't expect. Didn't go back into the VIP room or anything. I figured, once was enough in there. And as things start to quieten down, we see Ricky and we see Dimitri, and we've just one Indian girl, and a guy comes over, who'd been close to them, lingering around them, and says, I can take you to an after party if you want. And we all looked at each other and went, none of us have had a proper night out since we've been here. I don't know how long the German girls had been there for, but Arj had been on the road for like 3 months, just through like the stands and Bangladesh and India and stuff like that. Actually, Bangladesh after India, sorry, poor geography. But anyway, what I'm saying is he hadn't had a proper night out. Me and Ricky were obviously clucking. So we were like, absolutely, we're going to this after party. So it turns out that he is the girl's brother that Ricky and Dimitri had been speaking to. So I don't know what he'd been watching or, what he'd gathered from what the dynamics of the group were at this point. But we're 6 tourists, okay? And there's 2 of them. So we go and we walk into the car park, and we're walking quite far away from everybody else. And he's like, no, it's okay, don't worry about it. I know a great after party, and we're going to go somewhere and pick up some beers, and then we'll go to the after party. And alarm bells were ringing maybe a little bit.
Sounds like a nice guy.
Well, yeah, sounds like a nice guy, but alarm bells were ringing a little bit because we'd gone so far away from like the club area. But it turns out he has actually got a car, and he's got the key for it because the door's open. So everybody gets in.
Wild.
But obviously there's 8 of us, as I said. So me and the 2 German girls, we get in the boot, right? And then you've got Arj sitting
in the trunk for North Americans. Yeah,
in the trunk. Yeah, of this, of this big. I don't know what they call it. It's not like a sedan car. It's bigger. It's where you actually could store some stuff in the boot if you ran a company or something. This kind of car, like a family carrier, we'd call it in England. Anyway, you got Arj in the middle, Dimitri and Ricky on the wings, the wide receivers. Yeah, Super Bowl day. And then the girl and her brother are up front. Okay. He starts driving. Everything's fine, Everybody's talking amongst themselves. I'm talking to the girls. Things are going nicely. Things are going to plan. Okay. And then I start to hear a little bit of commotion because we've been going for a little while now. And I'm starting to think like, okay, fair enough. I don't know why these guys are getting a little bit antsy in front of me. Ricky turns around, leans over into the trunk and goes, Sid, pay attention. This is not right. This guy is driving weirdly. Yeah. And I looked up, and for the first time I looked properly out the windscreen, and he was driving like a lunatic. Yeah. Guy's speeding. You could tell he was going fast, but he's swerving in and out of traffic. Yeah. He's not waiting for anything, and he's, we're the fastest guys on the motorway.
Were you with Paul Walker?
He might have been Paul Walker, yeah. I mean, he looked Indian. I don't know where Paul Walker was from originally, but...
yeah, those blue eyes. He's definitely Indian.
Right. But I was like, don't worry about it. It's cool. So I go back to, to our conversation, and the guys are getting more and more, kind of agitated in the middle row. Yeah. And they're going like, this is not right. Yeah. And the driver's shouting back at them. They're shouting at the driver. And I'm like, fucking hell, this is going to get into a fight in a minute. I mean, I was still very distracted. I wasn't paying so much attention. Like, that was, I wasn't...
You were just in the back with the girl, right?
That's what I mean. I wasn't letting it dominate my evening. But then, right, Ricky grabs me again and he goes, dude, we've got to do something. This is getting out of hand now because we've been going for like, I don't know, half an hour or so. Dude, that's not a pop to the corner shop or pop to the liquor store to go get a couple of bottles. You know, I wouldn't have even expected that drive for the after party, let alone just for the, you know, just to the store. Yeah.
Yeah. Sid, can you maybe describe the trunk? Because you say that you're talking to Ricky and you can see outside. So it's like a hatchback, kind of like the back would open up from the outside.
I don't know what a hatchback is for you, but for us, it's a small car. It was like one of those long 5-seaters. Yeah. So that in the trunk, you've got that extra bit of space. The back part would completely open up, so it'd be easy to get things in and out of. That's what I meant when I said it would be good for a company car. Yeah. And then obviously there's nothing covering the trunk, so we can lean forwards and see or speak to people, or they can lean back and speak to us.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Hatchback for North Americans. We're good.
Fantastic. Right. So we're in this fucking hatchback, right? Lewis Hamilton's at the wheel, or wherever we were with this. Right. So we're now speeding along, and we're getting out of Delhi. Yeah. And you can see, because some signs there, you know, written in English, it's like we're not, you know, it's clear we're not going to Delhi. We're getting towards other cities, or, you know, we're seeing signs coming out of Delhi now, and we're like, holy fuck. Yeah. We're worried about going into the villages. Okay. I say we, mostly the three guys in the middle, because obviously I'm only half there, or half paying attention. Ricky grabs me one more time, says, dude, we've got to get out of this. And I was like, I don't know, give it some time. Yeah. We stop at the lights. Yeah. And he actually stopped for once. As I said to you, he'd been storming through everything else. Dimitri and Ricky get out of the car. Right? They get out of the car on the motorway. Same motorway people have been shitting and sleeping all day.
Fuck.
Yeah. And they get out of the car. The guy doesn't even wait for him to close the door. Storms off and the door's just closed because he's moving. Right? And we're like, oh,
and you're still in the car.
Fuck. Yeah, just me and Arj and the two girls. And we're like, oh, fuck. And the guy now is just screaming at us. Yeah. Like properly verbal.
What is he saying?
No idea. He's going off in Hindi. I don't even know if Arj caught any of it.
Was he like a big guy?
Reasonably big. You know, not like Big Sid, but, you know, he would have taken Dimitri, I reckon.
Okay.
Anyway, right. Yeah, look, to be honest, there was four of us. Yeah, if it was hand-on-hand combat, obviously there was only one winner. Yeah, but the issue is not hand-on-hand combat. The issue is we're in a car. Where is the car going? What's the safe way to evacuate? Yeah, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Right, what do we do now? Because we've just left those two on a motorway. Yeah, no real way to contact people. We're not in Delhi anymore. Yeah, and I'm like, fuck. So Arj grabbed me and goes, this is serious. I was like, I know. So I actually climb out of the trunk into the middle part whilst the car's moving, yeah? And I'm shouting at the driver now, I'm involved, yeah? And the driver's like, you know, fuck you guys, yeah? He says some things in English, which was nice, because I was starting to lose track of what he was saying. Yeah, maybe he was just...
Appreciate it.
Maybe it was like Russian and they just sound angry, but they're actually just asking how you are.
If you're going to insult me, at least let me understand it. Like, come on.
But yes, he gave us a couple of fuck yous, yeah. So I grabbed him whilst he was driving the car, yeah, like 100 odd kilometers an hour. I fucking just grabbed the guy, yeah. And I was like, pull over the fucking car, yeah. And he slams on the brakes, right? We're on the motorway still. So everybody else is like skidding behind us, beeping behind us, you know, having to go around us because we stopped. And he's going, oh, what the fuck you doing, yeah? And I'm like, let us go, yeah. We got to get the guys. And so he drives, yeah, and he tries to pull off on a side road. Yeah. And so me and Arj both grab him now, yeah. And we're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I'll pull this fucking handbrake if you don't stop and go, like, you know, go back. Yeah. I was like, I'll pull your fucking handbrake, like, whilst he's driving. Anyway, as you can tell, this is a completely out of control argument. People are just shouting. It's a loud environment. It's not, it's kind of killed everybody's vibes for the night out. Anyway, right. What we were thinking afterwards, okay, well, actually at this point, was he probably doesn't actually care about the guys, which is why he drove off when Ricky and Dimitri got out. Doesn't care about this. He probably doesn't care about me and Arj, but what he's annoyed about is that we're now causing problems because we're getting physical with him. Neither of us have attacked him, but we're making it clear that we're there. What he almost definitely wants is the two girls in the back. I've got no idea what he would have done to them. But after the last time we grabbed and threatened to pull the handbrake, he turned back onto the main road and did a U-turn onto the other lane of traffic. Yeah, even though it's the middle of the night, this is still busy. So that was yet another lunatic move from this guy who may or may not have been drink driving. Yeah, but we're now heading back into Delhi, and we're like, oh, thank God this is hopefully over. Yeah, as I said, looking back, we weren't scared for like me, Arj, or the other two. What was the fear was the two girls, because the last time two Danish girls had gone into those villages, they'd been hung. So yeah, as we're driving along the road now, we go back for another few minutes because we'd not been that long since, and we'd obviously already had one fight and already stopped the car once. We weren't that far away from where we'd left Dimitri and Ricky, and there they were, standing on the side of the road with a couple of police cars. Police cars had obviously gone past and seen two white tourists on a motorway on the outskirts of Delhi at God knows what hour in the morning, and just gone, this is not right. So they'd stopped, right, they pulled the car over, they got everybody out of the car, the German girls were shook up, they got out the trunk. I never seen two, because obviously they must have known the story of the Danish girls, they'd heard all the fighting and stuff like that, they'd noticed that two of the guys had left, like, if me and Arj had jumped out as well, they were gone, they were done for, never seen two people so shaken up in their lives. You needed a hot chocolate and a hug from their mum, I think. And the police, police threw them into a tuk-tuk and said, no, let them go back. The police pulled over.
So the police stopped the car?
Police stopped the car, and then they got us all out, They took the guy out and they were speaking with the guy and the girl. I don't know whether she actually had an interest in Ricky or was just trying to set her brother up with whoever he was working for or whatever he was doing. She may or may not have been in it, but basically they took those two to one side, and I don't know what the police would have done with them afterwards. We can speculate that they may have been arrested. I don't think they would have been, because in theory we hadn't let it get far enough that they'd done something wrong.
So you were taken against your will, so it was almost like a kidnapping. Yeah,
this is how we viewed it. It was a kidnapping. I don't think they wanted to kidnap us. We were just the extra casualties. What they wanted who they wanted to kidnap was the two in the back that we happened to be with. But so they'd attempted to take the six of us out into the villages. Unfortunately, this police on the way back, after me and Arch had really tried to stand up for ourselves, had stopped the car and cleared everything up and got us in tuk-tuks going back to the centre of Delhi. Never saw the German girls again. Wouldn't surprise me if they just gave up and went home, because that's a horrible experience. Why would you want to continue after that? I don't know, maybe you would, but also you could forgive them for going home after that, because it's pretty grim.
Fuck. So, a lot to unpack there, man. Holy shit. So, what was the demeanor of the guys once they got stopped by the cops? Were they, defensive? Were they,
But the guy had been defensive the guy had been defensive for a long time, and he didn't really become... We stopped shouting, because the shouting ended when we realised we were going back the right way, when we realised we were going back into Delhi.
Yeah.
So the shouting had stopped, but he was still, he would say, fuck you guys, and, he did a lot of cursing. Didn't have much of a vocabulary on him, like myself, unfortunately.
No.
So he was still throwing a few insults, but it wasn't, the extreme shouting and the aggression that had been happening on the way out of there. But he wasn't subdued, which is why I don't think he got arrested, because it gave me the impression that this had happened before. Because he didn't seem shaken up. He just seemed like, it's the cops. That's my night
Tuesday.
ended. Yeah, Tuesday. Again. Once a week.
Fuck.
Yeah, so they seemed perfectly fine with it, which actually raises suspicions more than anything else.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's a fucking hell of an experience. So I guess, did that contribute to you guys wanting to leave India?
I think it maybe put us on edge a little bit more. I think the turning point for us was actually after we'd gone to see the Taj Mahal, and we were sitting in a restaurant for lunch, and a big monkey come into the restaurant, honestly, about the size of King Kong. I never seen anything like it. And he walked into the restaurant and just started going at people's plates, and me and Ricky hid in the janitor's closet whilst he just had his way with our food. I think at that point we probably had enough, but this definitely contributed.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's pretty fucking intense. Holy shit.
Yeah. So certainly an experience.
Like, yeah, I mean, I guess the one question I kind of have from this, but is like, you know, you guys drove for like a long time. Did you guys end up chipping in for gas or?
Absolutely give him 2 stars on Uber. Yeah, certainly one of the more dangerous predicaments I've put myself in. As you said, it's because you don't say no. You know, you're looking for these opportunities for fun and excitement, and that leads to things. That today's story is probably a perfect example of what happens when you just push and start going out.
Say yes.
Yeah, and say yes.
Yeah, like you unlock so many cool things, right? You unlock, you know, experiences with locals and so many more positive things, but then you also unlock occasionally some fucking crazy shit, like almost getting kidnapped.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything differently, because you've got to take the rough with the smooth, because I think you win more than you lose by saying yes whilst you're traveling. But when you lose, you do end up, you know, with stories that are fit for travel podcasts. So bear that in mind.
And here we are. Yeah, but anyways, man, this was awesome, dude. I'm looking forward to kind of having you on back when you get back from your big trip in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the UAE, and that is if you do make it back.
If I only get one call from the Saudi prison, I'll make sure it's you, yeah. I might see if I can get some bits for you to throw on your Instagram. That's probably the best I can offer you. But I'll make sure you're updated.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, dude. As always, you're the GOAT of the show, man. You just love having you on, and looking forward to your next little trip here.
Right, it's been a pleasure. We'll speak soon. Take it easy, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Two Beers Till Takeoff. Do you want free additional content or just to stay connected with the show? Then give us a follow on our social media platform. That means TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Are you in need of podcast production services, video editing, or anything in between? Then look no further than Strut Sound Productions, the official producer of the Two Beers Till Takeoff podcast. Music produced by Alex Gagné. Check out his work in our show notes. Voiceover done by Viking Leo K. See you next week on Two Beers Till Takeoff.